USA. Of nowhere sits a forest of antennae, causing earthquakes and tsunamis, unimaginable chaos and ruin. In the second edition of Doom Tech, we're looking at the HARP Research Facility situated in Alaska, USA. Conspiracy theorists have linked the HARP project to earthquakes and tsunamis all over the globe. Calamities blamed on HARP include the Haiti earthquake, which struck on 12th January 2010. The magnitude 7 earthquake killed over 3 lakh people. The Japan earthquake and tsunami of March 2000, the earthquake and tsunami of February 2010 were also caused by HARP, according to some accounts. The 8.8 magnitude Temblor caused over 500 deaths. A massive landslide in Philippines in 2006 has also been linked to HARP. It had killed more than 1,000 people. Even some world leaders have openly propagated these claims. In 2010, then President of Iran, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, said recent floods in Pakistan had been caused by the HARP project's electromagnetic waves. He also accused European nations of draining rain clouds before they could reach Iran, causing water shortages in the Asian country. In the same year, then President of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, said a tectonic weapon being tested by America had caused the deadly Haiti earthquake. Chavez claimed that...
Yeah, people from the
Now,
Running
there's
African program.
one thing I want you to do, please.
Hold tight, sister. Usually on Sunday mornings, pretty early. I do get repeat broadcast sometimes the next day. Unfortunately, this took some time on YouTube, but it's usually a very interesting Poruka because two programs and that radio station, time to viewpoints on some of these programs, among other programs that would be highlighted on this forum and stream, and as we delve into some of the topics and different issues that we encounter along the journey that we call life. So it's always interesting to have a different perspective. Sometimes people don't necessarily like that, especially those who have their specific agendas and who are in a position to influence the others in ways in which they would love to influence them. When they do have questions and challenges sometimes to the things that they put forward, you sometimes are deemed um, in all kind of categories that they try to put you in. But in the meantime, I'm just going through this so that folks could eventually build and come in and take the time and get in and get into the program. So there are a number of topics and issues that's going to be discussed, just like we did at this point. We stop and we get into certain things. We will do that from time to time through the broadcast. So it's not like you're just going to be hearing the program and hearing from Sister Kabu. From time to time, I would interject and add some additional views, and my views are, if I differ, if I don't agree with, Buddy, and let's get into it.
For me, humor me, and I'm going to come back to it, but I want you to do a little research with me for those who can. At the beginning of the program here, for those who can. If you can't, then that's okay, because we're going to come back to it. I want you to go to you can Google this, or you can go to Google Maps. Anyway, what I want you to do, look that up. That's right between Haiti and Jamaica. That island that is right between, at the tail end of Haiti and Jamaica. Yeah. So find out as much as you can. It's owned by the United States. It has been claimed by the United States. It's called Navassa. Navassa, Navassa. Navassa Island. It's right between Haiti and Jamaica. So check that island out. Go Google Maps, because Google Maps.
Have you ever heard of that island before? That's what I'm saying. Sometimes it's always good to listen to different programs. I'm a kind of person, I listen to a lot of different programs throughout the region, throughout the globe, as a matter of fact. But specifically throughout the Caribbean region, I listen to things in St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Antigua. Talking about Antigua. Okay, that's for Sunday. I listen to different Barbados, Guyana, um, you know, and stay in tune to some of the things that's going on. And it's always good because you get different perspectives and you get to realize sometimes that some of the things that you are going through in your territory, you have similar issues that arise in other territories. And so in some cases you have precedents set already where sometimes you're going through certain things and you can just look into a neighbor and see how they probably would have dealt with the same issue that they had, and it could probably make things a little bit easier for you in your territory, as and it can be more preemptive things that you can preempt and fix instead of waiting until it gets to that point where have to rush to fix. But yeah, let's get back to this.
It will give you a really good view of the island. You'll even be able to see what's on the island. Navassa Island. It is something I want to talk about. Maybe not this morning, but later on. But I want to put it out there now, because I've been thinking about Navassa Island, especially with right after the earthquake we had in Jamaica recently, and the many earthquakes that happen in Haiti, but not in the Dominican Republic. Because remember, it's one land. And I know that they have a real scientific explanation for why all the earthquakes, destructive, massive earthquakes, happen on one side of an island. Because that entire Hispaniola, then, if you will, is one piece of land. The boundary is imaginary. The boundary is in our minds. There is no boundary between the Dom Rep and Haiti. So the boundary is just in our minds. They tell us that it's two different countries, and we buy into this foolishness that it is two different land mass, right? It's not. It's just one piece of land. It's like going from St. Mary to St. Anne, and you cross over the White River, and then tell us, no, you're in St. Anne, coming from St. Mary, or vice versa. You understand what I'm saying? So it's one land. It's like Jamaica is one land. And so I know they have some real scientific explanations that our scholars, academia, all our way have bought into, because they've told us that this is Haiti, and this over here says a whole different country. And all the earthquakes, massive earthquakes, only happen over on this side, and they tell you about tectonic plates, and they tell you about it. They give us all kinds of explanations that we buy into. For me, I don't buy that. I don't buy that for 1 minute, because it's one piece of land. I don't buy it nowhere, no how, no sir. I do not buy into it. Okay. So that takes me back to Navassa. So all these earthquakes happening on one side of one piece of land, destroying that side over and over and over again. But we understand that it is because it is on this tectonic plate, and because of all other kind of, reasons that you have to go read book to figure them out. Now, so here's Navassa, right in the way, standing strong, claimed by the United States, 1857, standing strong. Navassa is an island in the Caribbean waters that we do not hear about. Then there is Jamaica that just had a massive-ish, a big-ish earthquake just the other day. And that earthquake was felt in Cuba and Haiti. But what about Navassa? That is right in the way. Now, they tell us that Navassa is not on that tectonic plate, or whatever that word is. That's what they tell us. It's not on that plate. But Navassa, go Google Maps. I need you to do Google Maps this morning and try and figure it out for yourself, because it's kind of hard. The thing is that cognitive dissonance is a hell of a thing. Cognitive dissonance, because when we are faced with other information that disproves everything that we have known and been holding on to all our lives, it is one of the most difficult things to let go of what we have known or think we know or believe is a better word all our lives, to even at some people's ages. The younger ones might be able to do it easier. But to even consider another possibility. But Navassa gives us a very, very good starting point. A really great excuse, if you will, to consider another possibility. What about Navassa? They will tell you, this is the thing now, they will tell you that Navassa don't experience those kinds of earthquakes because Navassa not on the plate. But Navassa is right between Haiti and Jamaica, closer to Haiti. So I want you to look at Navassa, and I want us to start asking ourselves questions about them earthquake there, right? I know. Believe me, I know. I have been at this for a while, so I know that I just lost a whole heap of listeners in terms of, you're not going to turn away from the Africa Forum, but you just lock off your mind. Well, while you're locking off your mind, let me take a quick break. Understanding is a thing, and you know how the Rastaman say, Rastafari say, overstand, and sometimes we really have to take the word them out, and even in the same tongue that we have been baptized into and Christianized into, because we have lost our tongue, lost our speech, lost our language, and lost ourselves in the process. So even lost our deep thinking mind and our critical minds. The African mind is asleep. So overstanding is an interesting thing. So there's a natural mist blowing over Navassa. And I want to understand Navassa with you. I want to ask the questions with you and to pose the questions, and we know the answers are in the questions. So we're not looking for answers. We're posing the questions, right? We're posing the questions. What about Navassa Island? What about Navassa? Navassa has been, there's a big dispute over Navassa, by the way, because Navassa was stolen. Navassa was stolen from Haiti by the United States in 1857. So there is that to think about. It's a subject of dispute between Haiti and the United States. They tell us that it is uninhabited, but it is not true. That's a lie. They say Navassa is a small island in the Caribbean Sea, and it is uninhabited, and etc., 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 between Jamaica and Haiti and so on. So we buy into this. Well, maybe the fisherman them can't tell if Navassa uninhabited or if it inhabited. What the man them do we go to sea? When on touch Navassa, can you go into Navassa waters, or are you turned back? I know fisherman out there. You know, nothing I hear me this morning. See you off this morning. Someone I think could have gone out this morning. But somebody need to talk to me. When you go into the Caribbean waters and get close to the Navassa Islands, can you go to Navassa Islands? Can you go into the waters around Navassa Island? Well, my research has shown me so far that if you're going to go to the Navassa Island, you need a U.S. visa. So who you going to show the visa? The bird?
Exactly. If it's inhabited, who you going to? If it's inhabited, who you going to?
So Navassa hasn't really been bothered by any of these massive earthquakes that's been hitting Haiti and the last one that hit Jamaica. But Navassa is owned by the United States. No, everything connected, because while we're talking about Navassa, just one word in our head, CERN. Here we go again. We'll come back to the CERN another time. But this is no time for us to be fooling ourselves about reality of things. And I want to pose a question about threats to Caribbean governments and countries and so on, and nations, whether it is a threat of hurricane, earthquake, Navassa, CERN, you name it. I really don't want any answer. I'm just posing some questions. So, a quick look, Navassa Island. The United States took control of Navassa Island in 1857. And because they wanted the guano deposits. The guano deposits for those chemistries.
That's the waste from the bats and birds. Very, very rich fertilizer. You know, a lot of guys in the cannabis industry back where the monolith would be very happy. I mean, even now, because they're still what they call it, organoponics. So you have hydroponics and you have organoponics, where they use manure, liquid manure, to fertilize the plants.
And so on. The guano deposits are valuable for fertilizer production. And especially in 1857, around this time, all the way to the 1900s, they were still, using those. As a matter of fact, they are still using those. But in 1857 and roundabout, it was gold, guano deposits. GUANO, guano deposit. That means they talk about bat and birds and so on. Their feces. So, but Haiti has always claimed sovereignty over Navassa Island. And if you go back and listen to the speech that Dessalines gave, even though he didn't mention Navassa by name, if you listen to that victory speech from Dessalines, he's talking about all those islands off the coast of Haiti. And it's interesting because I read that speech, many years ago, and I said to myself, wonder, which islands? And so I looked at some of the work that Haiti was doing in the other Caribbean islands, but I always knew that Dessalines was referring to other islands that were there in the Caribbean waters, including Navassa. They call it Lunavas. You have to listen carefully. So Haiti claimed sovereignty over Navassa Island, and the claim for this sovereignty on Haiti's part it's historical. It has always been part of Haiti, Navassa, from the time of the first peoples. This is one piece, one land, not one land, but one area, and so you've got the historical, you've got the geographical, and not to mention the legal arguments, because Haiti traces its claim all the way back legally. Historically, it is, Haiti. Geographically, it is Haiti. Jamaica could lay a claim too, but obviously Jamaica recognized a long time ago that this was Haiti's part of Haiti. So that claim hasn't come from Jamaica. But there was another treaty in 1783. There was a treaty, the Treaty of Paris in 1783. That was the treaty that ended the American Revolutionary War and actually defined. So we want to spend some time looking at that treaty too. Then we have the legal perspective, where Haiti has time and time again argued that somehow along the line, the French during the period of enslavement had colonized Saint-Domingue, which is now Haiti, right? And before the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. I'm saying a whole lot here, and I know that for history students, you're getting this. For those who have looked at a bit of history, also the heads of others. What I'm laying down the offer time. So Haiti argues that because of this, that Louisiana Purchase, it should have been included in the territory transferred to the United States through that purpose. And the United States, on the other hand, claims that Navassa was unincorporated territory and not part of Louisiana Purchase, and that the U.S. Assertion of control in 1857 was legitimate. Now, that is a whole bag of something. Guano. That's a whole bag of
guano.
Guano fertilizer.
You check.
And then you have international law and the treaty. So the principles of international law, including the doctrine of discovery now, have been invoked by both Haiti and the United States. This is something that we have to bear in mind. So there's this ongoing conflict, over this little piece of land between Jamaica and Haiti, that we are so near to that we can literally swim go out there. I hope you've gone to Google Maps and see what is on Navassa, because somebody need to tell me what that building is for Navassa. And you also somebody need to do a further research to tell me what that whole wildlife fishing thing is about, and all those people who keep going to Navassa under the pretext of it being a, eco wildlife, saving the birds, saving the fish, saving the wildlife, saving the environment, thingy. So I'm sure by now that many of you would have gone to the Google Maps and you've already Googled Navassa. But remember, said the same people who control Navassa, them control the internet. So careful on the read. Goodness gracious me. What a morning. I won't tell no lie. One and all got to face reality now. It is what it is.
It's the isness of things.
It is what it is. We need to unplug from the matrix. It is what it is. It is the isness of things that we deal with, regardless of appearances to the mind. You have appearances, you have perception, and you have perspectives. That's a natural mystery. So we're watching the earthquake in Morocco that shake up Morocco. We're watching the disaster in Libya. We're watching the bombing, the genocide, and the ethnic cleansing in Gaza. We're watching the genocide in Sudan. We're watching the genocide in Uganda. We're watching Suella Braverman, not so brave, who has been fired from her position as Home Secretary in Britain, who one of her main thrusts as Home Secretary was to recolonize Rwanda with the complicity of the puppet in Rwanda, who is a friend of Britain and Jamaica, Kigali. So,
I know.
It's a stream of consciousness. You have to follow it because everything is connected.
If you're able to see the natural mystic, check, they used to be, but still, the more things change, the more things remain the same. But you need to know what happened.
Including the doctrine of
you need to know what happened in the past in order to make sense of what's happening now, in order to have a better understanding of what will happen and what is going to happen in the future. Then you can also help to predict the future, because based on what you know from the past and is able to align yourself with what is happening now, you can then put yourself in a better position to better influence the future and impact the future in a way that you can make some changes and some positive changes in the future.
Discovery. This has been invoked by both Haiti and the United States. But these principles, as we know, they are Eurocentric principles. They are colonial principles. This doctrine of discovery. So the guano, there's a guano, what do you call the Monroe Doctrine? There's a guano doctrine, There's a guano doctrine that the U.S. has invoked, and this has been in place from the 1800s. And this guano doctrine has to do with, I'm not quite sure, did they call it guano doctrine? But anyway, I think I'll come to that in a while. But they have this doctrine where they say that any land that a property or territory that has been discovered, like how Columbus discovered things. As a matter of fact, Columbus and them, they're the ones who call this place Navassa, That's another story, So any found in quotations and claimed in the name of the U.S. that and plug, no matter who did it, who lived there, who walked there, who's sleeping there, that they are that these territories belong to the United States, and this is how they claim Navassa. It is under this doctrine that they claimed Navassa. So it's a colonial doctrine, Eurocentric colonial doctrine. And we see the issue becoming even more complex with the evolving interpretations is what we want, and then throw environmental considerations at us at every turn. So they say that the ecological significance of Navassa Island is important. I agree that it is important. Navassa is home to unique flora and fauna. It is an essential nesting site for migratory birds, and this is where the guano comes in. And then there are environmental concerns. And over the years, we have Haiti collaborating with America on the environmental concerns, interestingly enough. That this island is out there between Jamaica and Haiti, that is called Navassa. It has never been hit by an earthquake, as far as I can find. It is right there. They tell us that it is not on the earthquake on the plate, and we just buy into it. Hold on, let me take a quick break. Burger King with the best tasting burger on the sun. The time by Burger King is now 2 minutes after 7.
Okay, all right, your time check.
Some ongoing diplomatic efforts to find a solution to the Navassa Island dispute. As long as Haiti remains trod down, oppressed, downtrodden, foot on the neck, hit you with earthquake here and there, saying that it is a real earthquake, etc., etc., the progress has been very, very slow. So Haiti seems powerless to reclaim Navassa Island. The United States has maintained control of the island, and any potential resolution, it seems, would be diplomatic. But we see another dispute bubbling there in the is laying claim to, I think, part of Essequibo. I want to let me look at it. Let me get the proper information. Right. So coming out of The Hague in the Netherlands, Guyana is urging judges of the United Nations Highest Court to call for a halt to parts of a Venezuelan referendum about a territorial size of the Essequibo River, the swath of jungle, which is just west of the Essequibo River, is Isia, which means that it's massive, and it is rich in gold and diamonds and timber and other natural resources. Venezuela has laid claim to that piece of territory. Because of this youth, they have gone back to Venezuela. It's a situation Jamaica wants to do to it. Jamaica burned its bridges. We're sure Venezuela is going to forgive them with the whole Petro-Carib thing and, the way that Jamaica went on week. And this is what democracy, anyway, to come back to the strong relationship between the U.S. and Venezuela. Remember, there were two presidents in Venezuela up to recently, Guaido and the other one, and one was put in there as a puppet by America, and the other one is the one that the people chose, and America was intent on over. Then they wanted now to isolate Russia because of this ongoing NATO expansion in Europe. They had to seek new sources for oil, and so they went back